Hey, what's up, tool tubers? Rob's Wrenches. All right, this is my submission for Hard Knocks Forge's OEM tool giveaway. What is my most sentimental tools or tool? I have to go with this hammer. This is a Vaughn fiberglass handled. I think this is 21 ounces, but these were issued to us to deploy into Afghanistan. My job was construction. We were into fob construction, fob maintenance. That's what we deployed into Afghanistan to do, to build outposts and forward observation bases. So we were on the forward edge of the battlefield. Also, I have this Gerber, which is a HESCO. Now, HESCO bastions were these wire baskets with a fiber mat, insert that we'd fill with soil, any kind of backfill, anything that you could fill it up with, to protect yourself from incoming fire. So that was, your first line of defense, the HESCO barriers. Before then, this was an original issue. This is what we were issued as mechanics in the Army. Just your standard, pocket knife back in the day. So this, when I first came in 1985, something like this would be issued to you in your tool set. And this is its modern day equivalent, for an engineer at least. That is not engineer specific, but this is. This is a DeWalt bit carrier, and I have that. It has one of my guys' names on it, Vertical One. We were vertical construction. Grenier. Anytime the shit hit the fan, Grenier was the first guy laying down suppressive fire. He was the first to fight, Every time, we got into a scrum or got into the shit, the first one laying down, returning fire was Grenier. And when we finally got replaced, the unit that replaced us, had all of their own tools intact and everything. All of our stuff got stolen in Pakistan when we got there. All of our stuff arrived. All of our tough boxes, all of our foot lockers were broken into. A local news channel did a story on us, and we had a bunch of donations, from people, man, old Black & Decker tools that people had in their basements and stuff like that, stuff from Harbor Freight, you name it, man, people sent us all kinds of, odd tools to help us accomplish our mission. The community was behind us, and that was, an outstanding feeling. That was really great. So the news got back to the States, and we weren't able to, perform our mission in construction without, construction tools, and the community turned out for us. This is all a distraction, but this is all why these tools are, so, mean so much to me. That's why they hold the sentimental value that they do. A map of Afghanistan. I've got medallions and coins and stuff like that in that pouch. That's an old sundries kit that was given to us by the Salvation Army. I was awarded the Bronze Star at the rank of Staff Sergeant, which was kind of like unheard of, in today's, Army. In our current theaters, it was like thought that a Bronze Star or above was for the rank of E7 and above. And much to my surprise, man, I just about collapsed and fainted, when I was awarded the Bronze Star. And I don't think I did anything more than any of my other guys did, or any of my peers, but the medal was awarded to me, and I'm grateful. Salerno was our home base. That was the fob that we were tugged into. We weren't supposed to be there. We were supposed to be in Jalalabad, but Colonel Nicholson, now General Nicholson, back in Afghanistan, pulled us there because he wanted the engineer assets there, under his control. That is the ISAF medal, United Nations International Security Forces Agreement, and that was awarded to us. That's the Afghan campaign. We fell in on, when we got there, there was one particular campaign, and mid-tour there was a second campaign. So we actually have two Bronze Stars on our medals there. There's a copy of the Stars and Stripes. I have another copy there. That is an Afghani flag. That copy of the Stars and Stripes back there is from October 1st, which was a Sunday, but not colored. But the Monday copy, October 2nd, was in color. Go figure. Let's see, several lighters that would make Zippo Varga proud. Zippo Varga. They'd make him proud. From Salerno, which was our fob. It was started by Italians way back when. And they had oranges. Excuse me. They had an orange grove on there and olive trees. So fob Salerno, the one that's laying down, just has my name on it. Afghanistan. There are AT&T calling cards. Somewhere in the house I have actually some satellite phone calling cards. That patch is the 416th Tech Theater Engineer Command. That's who we fell under. Our battalion patch actually looks like, the Girl Scout cookie, the basic plain old butter cookie, and that's what we used to call it, the Girl Scout patch. Let's see, what else do we have here? Just a little map of Afghanistan. But having gone through all of this, a lot of these things I want to donate to the VA hospital. In the VA, they have a display of every war since, I think, starting at World War I. They don't have anything in the main library. They have Civil War stuff, but in the spinal cord injury portion of the hospital, which is the newest portion of the hospital, they have a display of every war that we've ever been in. Starting at World War I, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Nothing about Grenada or any of that, or Panama. But everything in the Afghanistan display is from Iraq, actually. So I had inquired, how to donate some of these things to include my Bronze Star medal, the original medal. This is the one that was handed to me, on stage in theater, and I wanted to put that, on display along with the ISAF medal and some of these other items, some maps. Now these maps are from the bazaar, tourist maps, but I actually have a map from S6, with real-time satellite imagery and on all the good stuff somewhere in the house as well. But you have to jump through so many hoops, man. You have to sign over ownership, and they have to catalog this, and there's a whole process, for you to be able to donate, items, to put on display in the VA. And that's the form, that I'd have to fill out and sign over, relinquish my ownership so my children couldn't come back one day and say, that was my dad's stuff, I want my daddy's records, as Blind Mellow Jelly from from Sanford and Son. This was from the voting campaign when Karzai was elected into office. We were forced to wear these American-Afghani partnership, pins and badges and patches, to show that we were in support of, the government that was elected. I have bullets. I have shell casings that were actually fired in combat. These were fired in defense of our position, my dog tags at the time, and this is the unit that we replaced. It was a unit excuse me. This was a unit out of Guam, and the Guamanian motto is Hafi Adai or something like that, and that was their patch. They were still in the sand-colored camouflage. They didn't even have the ACU pattern, when we first got there. This casing is from, I think it's a 24 millimeter gun from the Apaches, and they had some ranges on Salerno where the Apaches would go up and fire. So they retrieved one and put their patch on it, and I traded that, with one of the guys. That head right there is actually in a United States munition. As you can see, it was a dud, but I have an actual RPG head in the house that was meant to snuff my ass out. It collapsed. The composition, the explosive inside, was like too old. It was inert, rendered inert, by its age. So the head just collapsed, on itself. So Grenier and myself, didn't we didn't die that night. Thank goodness. So, and more so, I was awarded the Bronze Star, but we went to war with 371 Cavalry out of 10th Mountain, and my most prized possession of that campaign, of that deployment, is this set of spurs. They had these made in country. They're in Afghanistan, so we rode into battle with the cavalry, and us 9 construction engineers all got spurs from Cav Scouts and whatnot. I don't have a Stetson. I need to get myself a Stetson. But that was definitely earned. Again, with the Bronze Star, I don't feel that I did anything more to separate myself than any of the other guys, there on the battlefield or anything like that, But it came to me. And but what was definitely earned, without a doubt, was those spurs, going into battle with the cavalry and standing our ground and surviving. And, no matter what they threw at us, when the locals would come around the next morning and we were still there, and they would cheer for us, man. It was an awesome feeling, So, that is my most doggone cherished possession right here, man. As far as tools, this hammer, the Gerber. I have a few other items, packed away in tough boxes and foot lockers. But this is just an example. And as far as is that passed on? All right. There are three instances. One in which, nothing is passed on. One next is an intrinsic value that is passed on, and the next is, or the final is, by osmosis. Okay, so I had comic books from the 70s, and I gave them to my kids way too early. My kids took those comic books to school, and they sold them, for ice cream or snacks or whatever. They didn't have any value, They didn't ascribe any value to those comic books whatsoever, Not that they didn't see the value that I saw in them. Another example, there was, when I bought my house, I had a neighbor, an old German. He was from Bavaria. He was a clockmaker. He passed away, and his kids put his wife in a home, in a retirement home or assisted living facility or whatever, But this man had all of the tools of the trade, down in his basement, in his workshop, and his kids didn't value that whatsoever. Now, I saw those tools, man, and I coveted those things so much. I wanted so badly to get my hands on them, on some of them at least. They sold a lot of them off, and some of them they donated to a museum. But they had no value, Oh, Dad, that's old world stuff, blah, 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 Let that go. And they sold or donated it. Now, I saw the value in it, the intrinsic value to me, Or, heck, I guess you could even call that by osmosis, had I had them in my possession. But it was an intrinsic value. I saw the tools for what they were worth, that they were from a craft that, that is dying, that you can't repeat and whatnot, unless you hand that down, to your son or to the next one in line. It is of no value, And then by osmosis, I don't have any of those tools or anything like that, but I could appreciate them. And that's something that, even though I don't have them in my possession, if I had similar items, I could pull from just what my neighbor's skill set was, the things that he learned, the things that he did, the products that he made, and the quality therein, I could pull from that, and try my damnedest to replicate that and to continue it on, whatnot, that makes me think about Kush the mechanic. He did a similar video on that, on dying crafts and whatnot, and people aren't continuing on with them. And what blacksmithing, Hard Knocks Forge, how many people take a hammer to an anvil and some steel these days, blacksmithing, so they're like dying crafts, but those are things that could be passed on. Man, I rambled on too long, and I'm I've got other thoughts in my head, right now, so I'm kind of befuddled, and You know, going here and there. You know, so I'll end this video right here. Hard Knocks Forge. Thanks for the giveaway. Hey, man. Outstanding channel. Thanks for all the guys and their submissions. I had to break out a Zima, you know, for knockers and put the put the opener to use. Hey guys, good luck on the contest. I hope I haven't just rambled on and on, you know, like an old man, or you know, with Alzheimer's or something, and being incoherent. I hope you guys can put this all together and, you know, make sense of it, you know, what I'm saying and whatnot. So I'll end right there, and I appreciate you guys watching. This is my submission to Hard Knocks Forge's OEM tool giveaway. Good luck to whoever might win. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Love the community. Toast. Prost. Zum Wohl.